Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We have a special event. We are your hosts. My name is Jennifer Garris. I am a travel agent, president of Travel Pros here in Virginia. We are starting tonight because we have so many questions that people are asking. And thank you so much, guys, for the questions that have been submitted over the past couple weeks. We're going to highlight a lot of those here tonight. So that way you'll have it and have it right here in front of you, and we'll elaborate a little bit on each of these questions with the answers that we have. And if you have any additional ones, please put them in the chat box and we will get back with you as soon as we can, or possibly during the show. Glenda is going to be responding to everyone, and I'm going to introduce Miss Glenda Stevens.
Hi, everyone from Houston. I'm here. I've been with Jennifer since 2010, working in travel. She introduced me to the travel industry. It's something I love and passionate about. We're here this evening to answer questions, as she said. We put together this awesome slideshow for you guys, and we're going to try to get to most of those questions. If you have any extra, email us after or just pop them in the chat box, and I'll try to give you the answers as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Glenda. Like she said, being a part of Travel Pros, I started in 1996, and now 25 years later, I'm still with Travel Pros, of course. Purchased it in 2005 because I really had a true passion about helping people. It's something that I've always looked to do. I grew up in the restaurant industry, and so serving people is just really makes me happy. So by answering these questions tonight, hopefully it's going to give you a peace of mind that whenever you plan your travel with Travel Pros, you're in good hands. We're going to look out for your best interest, and we're here for you. So let's get on with these questions. So you see our first slideshow. It's the same one that you probably saw in all the advertisement that we did. We also have this on our website, which is gotravelpros.com/events. After this show, since this is now being recorded, we'll upload it on there so you can review it or share with your family and friends. All right, so let's get to it. The first one we have here is the biggest one. Why should I use a travel agent? What do we actually do? Well, let's just say we're your best friends in your journey. We have the relationships with the resorts, with the cruise lines, the tour companies. We start with you and ask you some qualifying questions. What do you like to do? What kind of accommodations do you like to stay in? Do you want a beach view or an ocean view? Based on our own personal experience, many of these places that you would like to, we have actually seen or stayed at ourselves. If we haven't gone there yet, with all of our experience and our connections, we can find out those exact answers for you. So what do we do for you? Well, we're much more than just an online travel agency. Not that I'm trying to, say they can't do it for you, but we can give you that more personalized service instead of just clicking a couple buttons and not sure what you're going to get on the other side. So here we have on our little chart, you gain added value and perks. We always try to send an email to the resort or the tour company right before you travel. So that way, if you do have any kind of special requests, birthdays, anniversaries, then we're able to contact them. They know who we are, and they try to honor those requests. You'll have help troubleshooting common travel hiccups. Things happen. People make mistakes. Biggest mistake, and this is recent, checking your passport to make sure what your legal name is on your passport. It's very important. You want to make sure you have your first, your middle, and your last name as it appears on your documentation. You don't want to have any problems when you're checking in at the cruise line or the airport and come to find out your documents aren't accurate, or you booked your plane ticket and it's non-refundable, and you now have to scramble to figure out how you can make that change. Fortunately, and as being a legitimate travel agent, we're able to help you with that. Not always can it be fixed to perfection, It's up to the airline's discretion if they're going to do that. But let us take that stress and that pressure off of you by making those phone calls. The good thing is it doesn't cost you anything additional. Now, if you have to make a change, that's different. But I mean, our service doesn't cost you anything additional. You won't have to sweat the details. Exactly. If you had a schedule change and or your flight is going to misconnect because of that schedule change, what do you do? Well, we know what to do. We know the people to call again, and we know how to change it in our program where we can get you on a better flight connection. In the event there is an issue while traveling, you will have a professional in your corner. That's really important. You know, a lot of people don't realize we're with you from the moment that you start thinking about travel throughout all your travel. And by the time you get home, we are still with you. So I can't say that for the online version. I don't know about the 800 numbers. And so you can just pick up the phone, email is best, and email us the information and we will go find it out for you. So that right there is a big thing. Also, we usually can beat the prices that you're going to find online, but it's not really, it is about price, but it's not. It's who is going to have your back if there is a problem. And that's what a travel agent does. So, Ms. Glenda, you have anything you'd like to add? That pretty much covered it.
Yes, pretty much covered it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Let's see here. Oh, and I forgot to say thank you, Mr. James Campbell from Chicago, for that question. That actually is the most common question that we've received. So the next one came from Tracy Moore from League City, Texas. Do you guys charge a fee for what you do? And how do we get paid? How do travel agents get paid? Well, let's say if you booked a Royal Caribbean cruise and it was $1,000. If we booked a Royal Caribbean cruise, it's also $1,000. And Royal Caribbean would then pay us a commission, say 10%, after you return. So we get paid by the suppliers and the hotels, the resorts, the guided tour companies like Colette and Globus. We get paid by them to be their representation. So, and we don't get paid by them until after you travel. We do charge if we were to do plane tickets by themselves. Unfortunately, we don't really focus on booking plane tickets by themselves because we don't want to have to charge you a fee. The airlines sometimes have hold time of up to 6 hours. So for us to actually book a plane ticket alone without getting compensation for that, it's just not good. So unfortunately, we deter people from asking us just to book plane tickets. You book the hotel with us, the villa, the cruise line, any of those things. Now we're getting compensated. And yes, of course, we're going to help you with those plane tickets because it's part of a package. Everything goes together. I don't want you to have any issues getting there to catch that cruise or showing up for your villa or anything else like that. So yes, we do. And we don't charge fees at that time. So that's a great question. And I'm glad that you asked. I think there is a misconception out there in online that travel agents don't exist and that sort of thing. That's not true. The truth is we do exist, but there are few of us remaining. And you want to make sure you're finding somebody that's been well established and that does not do this as a hobby, you know, because they feel like they can book it themselves and they know the tricks. We're actually licensed and insured. So, and that's a huge thing because we don't want anything to happen during your vacation. So hopefully that just answered your question. Sorry, I talk a lot and give maybe more information than you're ready for right now, but let's move on to the next question. Okay, can I book a vacation and make payments over time? How far ahead can I book and start making payments? Another great question, and that was from Renee Craig from Tampa, Florida. Okay, so one of my specialties and Glenda's specialties is group travel, destination weddings, family reunions, cruise groups. And because in these days, people want to start traveling together and creating memories. That is like the number one thing, especially this past year where everybody's been stuck at home. So how can you get a group of people together? Not everybody's budget's the same. They may need, a couple months to be able to make payments. Well, basically how that works is there's always going to be an initial deposit. Let's just say it's $200 per person. Then your balance isn't due, depending on the package. It's either 60 days or 45 days before you travel. So the further out you book or travel, you can make payments along the way. You can set it up and do a monthly payment, or you can just submit as much as you want, as long as it's paid off by that final payment date. There is no interest. There's no additional fees for that, but we try to simplify it for you so that way everybody gets to go on vacation. You don't want to be that couple that just didn't save enough, to go. This way you save each month, and then that way you guys can take a memorable vacation or cruise. How far ahead of time can you? 330 days. That's basically the bottom line, and it's 330 days from the date of your return. The reason why is that's the calendar the airlines work on. So if you're coming home June or July 1st, 2022, you're not able to book your air until July 29th. And that's 330 days from the return. That's July 29th, 2021, when you're traveling in 2022. I can pull up information for you now, but none of that information is accurate until you actually make a reservation. And then that way that price is accurate. Anything I give now is just going to be really not valid, because prices change on a regular basis. So you want to make sure you're able to lock it in when you have a complete package of air and hotel together, or air and cruise line. So, Glenda, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, ma'am, you're doing an amazing job.
Okay, well, I'll keep rolling then. Thank you. All right, let's see. Another good thing is whenever you do a group travel, for instance, it's a destination wedding or honeymoon, you do get special amenities for booking groups together. And it doesn't mean that everybody gets to book their own somewhere, another travel agency, or one books it online, you have to have everybody booked together. So that way the group itself gets special amenities, room upgrades, maybe it's a cocktail reception, or even a dinner together. The larger the party, the harder it is for everybody to sit together, let's say at dinner. So if you had a private event that was included because you have a large group, hey, makes it worthwhile, and you didn't know maybe that could happen for you. So those are the kinds of details that we're going to look out for you to make sure you're getting the best out of everything that you're doing. So of course our goal is referrals. We love referrals, and if we can help you and have that perfect experience, I'm sure you're going to tell a million people about it. We really appreciate it. All right, next one. Travel insurance. I'm gonna give this one to Glenda. I'm just kidding. Only because I wrote this one. I'll go ahead and talk about it. Travel insurance is tricky. Do you need it? Yes. Would I ever tell you not to get it? No. And I'll tell you why. Okay, nobody can predict the future. Let's just be clear on that. Nobody. You can say, oh, but I'll save $100 if I don't have travel insurance. Trust me, you will pay 10 times that if you had an issue. It's worth it. If you don't need it, thank goodness. That's great. However, if you need it, you're going to be grateful you had it. So let's talk about the different types of insurance. When we sell vacation packages, we have different kinds. We have two that are famous. Everybody loves them. Cancel for any reason. Well, you have cancel for any reason for a future travel credit, and you have one that you get all of your money back minus the cost of travel protection. It is a lot less for the future travel credit because they know you're going to rebook at a later time. It usually runs about $100 a person. It really depends on your package price, but on average. And then the cancel for any reason for the cashback is usually 125% more, but you're getting all your money back. And that actually sounds good. But you also get other benefits with it. I have them listed here. Trip delay, trip interruption, misconnection, baggage and personal effects, pre-existing medical conditions, baggage delay, accident and sickness, medical expense, emergency evacuation, reparation of remains, accidental death and dismemberment, assistance services. Let me tell you a little bit about each of those things there, just so you understand. Say that you are in Punta Cana and you're on day 3 of your vacation and you get a call. It's a family member and something happened and you need to fly home. That's trip interruption. Most coverages give you back your money from all the time that you missed on your vacation. And when I say like you're staying for a week, so they'll pay you for day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7 on your 7-day vacation that you're missing. You just don't lose that money. They also will help you with getting your plane ticket back home. Say it's a $500 cap. So you can't just go get a plane ticket that costs $1,500 and expect to get the whole refund back, but at least you're going to get $500 back with having insurance. Different policies have different amounts for each of the things that it's covered. So one of the things you have to make sure is, what does your policy cover you for? Trip delay. So a trip delay means that the flight didn't take off. There's mechanical problems and you're delayed for a day or two. And it's not, or say it's weather. Weather is an act of God. That's not the airline's fault. That's not the island's fault. That's not the US fault. It's just that they couldn't fly out for your own safety. And now you missed 2 days of your trip. And so now they're going to reimburse you a per night per diem of what you've missed. Misconnection. Again, maybe weather related, act of God. It's not the airline's responsibility to put you in a hotel and give you food vouchers. It's not their fault. Now, if it was a mechanical problem or a flight crew delay, then yes, that is the airline's fault. And yes, they need to put you in a hotel or give you some food vouchers and definitely put you on another flight out of there. But if it is an act of God, you are responsible for your own hotel stay, food, beverage, any, toothbrush, all that kind of stuff that may be packed away in your luggage. So if that happens, save your receipts because you can't file a claim without having your receipts. So number 1, take a picture of those receipts. So in case you do lose them, you have a copy of them. Baggage, personal effects, same thing. If your baggage gets delayed or lost or damaged, we can file a claim for that. Pre-existing conditions. Depends on when you buy your insurance, had you visited the doctor and within 60 to 90 days of getting the insurance. And then it comes out later on, you now have a pre-existing condition. You have to be careful because you want to make sure you're within that time frame. If you had to cancel because of that pre-existing condition, you're able to and get your money back. The rest of it, I think, is kind of self-explanatory. You don't want to be on an island and get sick and have to go to the hospital. You want to make sure that they can take you to a facility that is to the US standards. And sometimes you need to be flown back to the United States to do that. Closest would, of course, usually be Florida or California, depending on, where you're located. You want to make sure your medical coverage covers you. Our US medical insurance does not cover us when we're out of the United States. So you always want to make sure you have some kind of medical coverage in case the emergency arises that you do have to go to the doctor, the dentist, or stay in a hospital. And of course, assistance services. Beyond just having me and Glenda having your back, you also have the travel insurances back that's going to walk through all of those technical details with the doctors and the tour companies to make sure everything is taken care of for you easily. All right, now, today's world, COVID. Does it cover COVID? COVID is considered a pandemic. It's a known problem. So in most cases, they will not cover you. If it depends on the policy again, but it also depends on which country you're going to. If it is a high-cased country, chances are they are not going to cover you to go to the hospital if you're quarantined. That would end up being an out-of-pocket expense. So if you're too scared to go because of COVID and you're just like, I just want to cancel and not go, it will not cover you. That's a definite no, unless you have the cancel for any reason insurance. So this is not an insurance presentation, but I just want to let you know, whenever you book your travel, with whom you book your travel with, just make sure you read those fine terms and conditions to see what it actually covers. And we will answer as many questions as we can, but legally, you would still have to refer back to the insurance company to answer those questions for you. I can give you what ifs, but to get facts, it's on the documents that we send you, and you have to talk to the insurance company directly to see if that situation is going to be covered. So I hope that helped. Let's see, let's talk to you about the next, COVID questions. All right, let me see who. John Stevenson from Kansas City, Missouri. Good question. All right, do you need to be vaccinated to travel internationally? At this point, some destinations are only welcoming tourists who have been vaccinated. However, other destinations are allowing non-vaccinated tourists with proof of the negative PCR test within 72 hours of travel. Every country is different. The best place, if ask us, is to go to the country's tourist board. They have it all right there for you. What are they going to require? 6 months ago, I wouldn't have looked at one of those websites because the stuff wasn't up to date. But everybody's pretty up to date now with these kinds of answers. They're going to usually have an app that you would download onto your phone. If you've been vaccinated, they're going to have you fill out everything on that form and upload your vaccination information in there. If you're not vaccinated, and if you're vaccinated, you still have to go get the negative PCR test done and upload it, have the result back within 72 hours and upload it onto that app. Or you can print it off and take with you when you go to that destination. So, Do I need to be vaccinated to travel domestically? Thank goodness, no. They're trying to pass that in Congress, and I'm glad that it didn't, because who wants to sit home when you can go to Florida or Disney or Texas? I just, you don't have to be vaccinated to get on a plane. So if you're going to a different country, different story. But when you're traveling here in the United States, the continental United States, I should say, Hawaii has different restrictions, and so does Alaska. So if you're traveling domestically in the continental United States, no, you do not. Does my children need to have a negative PCR COVID test to travel? Actually, domestically, no, children don't. But traveling outside of the country, children 12 and over do have to take the test. Children under 12 do not. Now, this can change. So every time someone asks, I do the same thing and I go find out what the current information is as of now. So the information we are giving you here today is as of right now. So hopefully that helped answer your question. All right. Again, we do a lot of destination weddings and honeymoons. And it really depends on where you live in the United States to this question. Which Caribbean destinations are the most budget friendly? Well, and I think Katrina Harris asked that one from Austin, Texas. Now, Cancun Riviera Maya really always works out to have the best all-inclusive out there. And the reason why is, and I try to think of it this way. In Cancun and Mexico, they're very self-sufficient as far as products, food, paper, anything to do with a resort, they're able to drive it in, or they make it themselves. When you travel somewhere like Barbados or St. Lucia, they are self-sufficient and they do grow products. However, most everything else has to be flown in. So unless it is like Jamaica and Dominican Republic, where they have factories and they can build and grow and all of that, you're typically going to find those to be higher going to St. Lucia, Antigua, Grenada, and the lower ones are going to be Cancun, Dominican, Jamaica, Bahamas, and Aruba. And I put those in order as the higher the cost goes. Cabo San Lucas, of course, that's not in the Caribbean, but that's another great destination, as well as Puerto Vallarta. The costs there are very reasonable. Costa Rica and Belize, those are also great destinations, and Panama that you're going to find reasonable costs for reservations. The other thing is airfare. And I like to explain it to people this way. There's only one, sometimes two airlines per island. And the flight may only be once a day. Barbados right now is American, and they don't fly every day. So the days that they do travel, they can keep their air cost high because they have no competition. You go to Cancun or Jamaica or Punta Cana, you have 10 airlines that fly to each of those places competing with each other. So they're naturally able to keep their prices lower. And that's another reason, the big difference in airfare. So if you're wanting to go more exotic and go to Barbados, like I am in a couple weeks, save your pennies. It's worth it. There's nothing like it, but you will pay higher in premium for your airfare and the hotels in those locations than you will find maybe something a little bit closer to home like Cancun, Dominican, and Jamaica are. So let's see here. Oh, I should say, if you are traveling a little bit more exotically to like St. Lucia or Barbados, try to go more than 5 nights to make it worthwhile for yourself. The flights are longer and take longer. You want to be able to not just spend 2 full days of a 5-day vacation because you're spending more of your time traveling. You can do it a 3-4 night in Cancun, Dominican, and Jamaica, and of course Bahamas. But for any other location, try to go 4 or more nights. And the further away, try to stay 5 or more. Oh, when would cruises begin to sail again? I laugh because we keep being told next month. Next month is coming around, then it's the next month. It's really not up to the cruise line. So to be fair about it, they have to wait for the CDC to allow them to cruise. And that's a really big thing. They're all doing the protocols like they should. They are, when they do cruise, they're going to be sailing half empty. So that way they have the social distancing down. They go through and they purify everything. So that way nobody is going to have any issues when they're traveling. Excuse my phone. They are going to change out the beddings. They've refurbished like all of the ships because they haven't been able to sail. So I just saw a news article today that Celebrity Cruise Line should be coming out here June 26th out of Florida. I'd like to wait to see when that happens before I start telling people, of course, when is cruises going to start. They came up with a new concept. Let's not cruise out of Florida. Let's cruise out of a different country or island. So that what they've moved their ships and now are cruising out of Nassau, Barbados, outer islands, because they couldn't dock here in the United States. You will have to fly to those destinations to get on board the ships. And if you're not ready for that, let's just wait a little bit longer and get more of a firm commitment as to when they will start cruising again. Who is that? Let me just see. I don't think they gave me a name. So thank you for asking it, because that was actually a great question again. All right. Oh, I think this one came along with it. Do I need a passport to take a cruise? If you're cruising in and out of Fort Lauderdale or Miami, you're cruising out of there and back in. No, it is not required that you have a passport. You may travel with just a certified copy of your birth certificate that you get from the state, not one that you make a photocopy of. It actually has to come from the state, and nobody has your original. Even though you may think that's an original, it's actually a copy of the original that the state has. So they have to send you another copy that they're holding with that stamp or the seal on it. And then your driver's license, a government official, government issued ID. And then you can cruise. But say that you're only going one way on a cruise, leaving out of New York City and into Fort Lauderdale. Well, now you're going in and out of different ports. That is required to have a passport because you're not entering and exiting from the same destination. Best advice, this is what I put on here. Best advice is to always travel with your valid passport, because you never know if you're going to have an emergency. And it happens. It's sad. And you don't want to be stuck on an island or in a country and you're having trouble getting flown home because you don't have a passport. When you fly in and out of a country, you have to have a passport. So that's a big thing. So even children, children's passports last 5 years. It's worth getting them the passport so there's no issue. Linda, I'm not letting you talk. So please forgive me. I'm a chatty Cathy, I guess is what you would say. So, why do I have to have a passport to cruise to Alaska? Well, if the cruise starts or ends in Canada, you will have to have a passport. It's another country. A passbook card doesn't work going like that. You need to have the actual passport because you're flying again out of a country. Now, the passport card is only valid when you're driving over the border of Canada or driving over the border of Mexico. If you have the passport book, you can still drive over Canada and drive over Mexico, but you can't fly in there and can't fly out of there. So you have to make sure you have the book. It is a little bit more money and it lasts you 10 years, but it's worth getting. Start early. There's a backup ordering passports right now, and it would normally take 4 to 6 weeks, is taking 10 to 12 weeks. So order your passport early, and it does last for 10 years. Is there all-inclusives in the United States? And what about Hawaii? A question we get all of the time. You know, folks are like, oh, we want to travel domestically. Well, I can't say that there's not going to be a meal plan offered, but there's no true all-inclusive like what's in the Caribbean. Club Med is in Sandpiper, Florida, and they do have it. They include your food, your drinks, your non-motorized water sports. That would probably be the closest thing to, I would say, is an all-inclusive like what you would find in Cancun or Jamaica. Hawaii, unfortunately, doesn't have any of that. I normally tell people if they want to have food included, it's probably better to take the Norwegian cruise around the islands. So that way you have your stay, you get to visit different islands, and you get your food included. And it's overnight in each port. So you're not just like in and out of there like a normal cruise. But no, unfortunately, I am looking up dude ranches, and they do say that they're all inclusive. So I'm checking out some details on that now, and hopefully I can get that information over to you if you request it. Okay, what islands can I do without a passport? Well, we have our territories, the U.S. territories. The U.S. Virgin Isles, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John, and then we have Puerto Rico. Now, you can travel with just your driver's license. You can take your birth certificate too, but a passport is not required to travel there. Word of note, when you travel to these destinations, they are beautiful, but they don't have the true all-inclusive that the rest of the Caribbean islands have. So we get that question a lot. Glenda had that question today, actually. There is a couple on St. Croix and St. Thomas, but compared prices to anywhere else in the Caribbean, they're probably going to be twice as much and not as nice quality. US is expensive. They're getting all of their food and equipment and supplies shipped in from the US. So it's going to be based on US prices. So let's go. Uh-oh. What's the next slide? Wow. Thank you for joining us. So we have some other questions that had come up along the way. Let's see if we can get those answered. How do you become a travel agent? Well, I have to share. I started years ago, like I said, in the restaurant industry, and TWA came to town, and I worked for the airlines for a very short time because I'm more of a people person and I want to talk to them one-on-one. And I was thankful. The lady hired me. Her name was Trish Putchko in 1996, and really I started January 6, 1997. And she showed me all the basics of being a travel agent. And I knew airlines at that point. So now I just need to learn vacations and where to go and that sort of thing. There's also a school, and a lot of people don't realize you do need education. We are educated with the knowledge that we know. And it's not just from years of experience. You also have classes that we have to be recertified every year in. Sandals Resorts is one. I've been selling Sandals Resorts now for at least 20 of the 25 years. And every single year we have to get recertified because they don't want somebody doing this just as a hobby so they can travel and get our deals. It's not like what they used to have, trust me. But they do honor us sometimes with having a special and bring us down so that way we can see the properties. But we're working the whole time. It's not like a vacation. So it's kind of a falsehood. So make sure when you're thinking about being in the travel industry, you don't think of it as, oh, I love to travel and I want to show everybody, what I can do. No, it's not about that at all. We work very long hours. We sit on hold for a very long time because it's not about us. It's about our guests, that they have the most incredible experience. We get rewarded later after people travel when they come back and they're like, thank you, thank you. That's the biggest reward that I can even say is, wow, it makes me feel good. Now I'm a part of their life, and hopefully we're going to be a part of it for a long time. And Glenda, I know she wants to talk about how when she became a travel agent, she, I love it, Rhonda.
You can tell me.
Okay. We were doing an event on the beach, and they call it ECSC here in Virginia Beach. It's a big surfing championship. She came up to me because I've heard it a million times. I want to be a travel agent and I want to come work for you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go do your paperwork and call me. Go take some classes. And damn it, she didn't. That girl showed up in my office and says, I have, no, she called me. I need to set my appointment with you. And I said, what was your name? Rhonda? Her name's Glenda. And she goes, no, I'm Glenda. And I met you on the beach and I went to my university. They have certain college courses out there for the travel and tourism to get your degree. And of course, she bypassed all of that and also got her business degree. And that's why she was able to put this wonderful presentation for you tonight on, I couldn't have done this, but she knocked it right out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she actually did it. She proved herself, and not just worthy of me, worthy of you. She took the time to actually get educated on what we do behind the scenes, that we don't want you guys to know what we do because it will make it go crazy, just like the computer does. But for us, it's a breeze. Click, 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 and we got it. And you're like, how'd you do that? Because we are educated. We know what we have. We know what we're doing. And we're doing it for you. So thank you for joining us tonight. If you'd like to visit our website, www.gotravelpros.com/events, you're going to see our lineup for the next couple of months. I'm getting ready to add September through December every Thursday from 6 to 7. It is free. So share this with your family and friends and join the revolution, the travel revolution. Let's get out of here. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.